Hello. So I am doing this video a day late. I'm sorry. Yesterday, I want to give you guys good videos. And yesterday I knew that I wasn't going to be able to give what I wanted to give to you guys, if that makes sense. So I'm going to start with yesterday because we're still going to feel the energetics, even though I'm doing this a day late. I definitely go more into detail about what the astrology is for this week in my written. And this video is just really going to summarize it because I don't want to make a very long video. And that's something I've been working on. So on Sunday, we had a Moon Uranus conjunction in Taurus to set our week off for us. And this is really starting with these feminine principles that we are going to be observing during this week. And there's also this masculine principles that we're going to be observing as well. But starting off, it's the feminine. This is really about releasing any type of content that is getting in the way of you being able to actualize what it is you're here to do, your purpose. Where do you need to rebel that you've been a little bit too grounded and you need to come out of your shell or really out of like being a hermit and to reintegrate yourself back into society? And what materials do you have to use at hand? How can you liberate from doing for others what you can't do for yourself and start really applying that wisdom that you've been giving to others to yourself? This is very about, a lot of times this can be resistance to like habitual patterns that feel secure. And that's the illusion, is that these patterns bring security when really they don't. It's just bringing resistance. So it's really looking at our psychological content of what have I been using and what patterns have I been using as a way to have self-preservation in the past, or as a way to survive in the past, that these patterns, these psychological patterns, these little mind traps, they don't serve us anymore. They don't serve me anymore. And so really observing this and seeing where this has become crystallized. That way we can move on and you can really live in your authentic self, having a relationship, listening to that inner voice, very much honoring the feminine by listening to that inner voice, learning how to trust that inner voice. A lot of times with this Uranus moon conjunction in Taurus, there can be this feeling of, can I trust myself? Can I listen to myself? And really the key is that if you are observing what's going on in your life, like we've been talking about, leading up to this Neptune-Jupiter conjunction happening in Pisces, you're going to be seeing that there are opportunities that come about where you can really honor what your higher self is saying and trying to guide you to do. And there can be confusion sometimes when we haven't been listening to that. And that is a theme that plays out this week, is definitely the intake of too much information, asking people their opinions when really we should be listening to ourselves. And so here's the easiest way that you can know that you can trust yourself. I want all of us to think back to the past of something where we were like, oh, I wish I listened to myself. That explains it. That says it right there. You can trust yourself, because whenever we have those moments where we're like, oh, I should have listened to myself, we know that we betrayed ourselves because we didn't listen. And we know in hindsight that had we listened, we would have not gone through or felt or whatever the thing it was that our inner guidance was trying to tell us. And instead, we resisted listening to ourselves. And so this is really about learning how to listen to that. And that is the natural expression of the feminine, is being able to hear your own inner voice, because really that is your higher self that is connected with the divine. And so it's learning how to trust this. And this is learning how to be your own mother, because the dynamics playing out this week are very much an integration of reparenting. The things that we've been working on, it's really about now integrating the divine mother and the divine father into us. And there's desires to do that. So in the middle of the week, there is a Mars conjunct Saturn in Aquarius, and it goes and it squares the nodes, the south node being in Scorpio and the north node being in Taurus. And so this is really about getting rid of any of the crystallized structures that no longer suit us. Where have we given our power over to an external authority, and where do we need to, and where do we have the desire to claim our own authority? This is the masculine principle, the natural expression of it. This is asking for the integration of this. So on the one hand, listening to yourself, being your own mother. And on the other hand, this is about a call to action. How have I given my power away? Where do I need to take responsibility so that way I can claim and be my own father? This is what all of this is about. And later on in the week, I believe on the 8th, we finally have a Jupiter-Neptune conjunction in Pisces. So this is really continuing to observe. Let the truth come out. Let it unfold in front of you. See where you can really honor the natural expression of the masculine and where you can integrate it. Ask yourself, where have I been afraid of doing this? What were these triggers? Why? Did something in childhood happen, or something in school, or with any type of external authority where now I feel like, where is my power? I don't feel like I have any, where really you need to claim your authority. And it's about looking at all of the content that has led us to this place and really taking ownership, that's authority, and the choices that we've made that have led up to this. That way we don't feel like victims of our circumstance. We get to liberate from that. We get to look at, oh, this teaching, this happened for this reason. There was this bigger teaching in this. There was this bigger lesson, this deep, deep truth that wanted to be revealed. And this is really, all of this stuff is about allowing us to heal these old wounds that are ancestral in nature, and being able to observe. That way we can then define, oh, this is what this is, and this is where this comes from, and really penetrating it and getting to the bottom of it. Okay, this is all about this square. And then that way we can have like this alchemical process where now we get to take the masculine and the feminine, we get to embody both. We get to be our own mother and our own father. We get to learn how to nurture ourselves. We don't have to outsource anymore. I get to validate myself. I get to feel good. I get to act on my desires, because my desires are aligning with my, what I need. And I'm able to discern what can, stay in the past and what do I want to happen for the future. And then just enjoying the present as well. Watching it all unfold, watching the teachings unfold as they unfold, and then really honoring this inner voice. So that way, when there's a call to action, we can be responsive instead of reactive, because we've been thoughtful about this. We're deeply connected with the feminine and the masculine. And now there's this integration, and it gets to work together, and it gets to be in harmony and balance. I just really want all of us to be thinking about these things this week, and really not outsourcing validation. So that can mean that you're going to have to liberate from old habitual thought patterns about self. And if you've been observing yourself in relationship to self, like we've been talking about, then you're going to be able to know what that is whenever it arises. And that way there can be this, renaissance in our lives of where we get to claim our own authority and we get to live in our authentic, natural expression while embodying the feminine and the masculine. The only way to make change in the world is to start with ourselves. So often we will look to change a relationship, or we will look to change the circumstance that we're in. And really, we should be reflecting on ourselves and observing and seeing why we're making these choices. Where has this thinking come from? Where do I need to be more in touch with why I'm doing the things that I'm doing instead of it just being autopilot because it's what I'm used to and it's familiar? There needs to be this integration of action, responsiveness, and nurturing and listening deeply to the content that is wanting to reveal itself within ourselves. There's so much wisdom that our higher selves is wanting to express to us, and that is for us to be able to act on the things that we're really supposed to be acting on. That way, we don't continue to have habitual patterns, which really is resistance to what is wanting to unfold. I really suggest and urge people to look at where they might be trying to control things, or where have we placed a pseudo God in our life. Where are we outsourcing? I want you guys to ask yourselves, where do I feel value for myself? Is it I feel value and I feel loved and I like how I feel when I'm around someone, or the job that I'm doing is how I define myself? Because these will come and go, and it's outsourcing, it's external. And so looking at that content and really getting in touch and sitting with oneself, that way you can live the life that you want to live, and you can feel how you truly feel deep down, instead of wondering, like, am I this person? Or how can I be this person that I feel that I am to be? And that is going to take deep, deep honesty and deep, deep conscious effort to really get in touch with ourselves. There are a lot of repeating signatures that are for this, divine masculine, divine feminine, liberation, rebellion from past ways, and the need for integration. We can see this in the Saturn-Mars conjunction happening in Aquarius, squaring the nodes. We can see this in Ceres, Persephone, they conjunct. We get to see the moon at the end of the week is opposing, the moon in Cancer is opposing a Cap Pluto, and this is making aspects to, what is it? Let me look here. It is making aspects to the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction. What am I thinking? And all of these are just repeating signatures. Venus is going to move into Pisces in the middle of the week, and that, it's not the middle of the week, it's on Tuesday the 5th. This can be very much getting in touch with the need to spiritualize and how to go about doing that. And this just repeats, like, where have I been, under the illusion that my worth comes from something outside of myself. This week is about learning how to really trust yourself. This week is about forgiving ourselves for not trusting ourselves in the past, not listening to ourselves. And that whenever we don't listen to ourselves and we outsource, that's where confusion comes into play, because we can do this whole Gemini thing, which the moon is going to be in Gemini. So this is that repeating signature of where we are taking in way too much information and opinions of others because we feel confused because we haven't forgiven ourselves for not trusting ourselves in the past. And I just want all of us to make sure that we're aligning ourselves with some type of philosophy that we are able to then learn what our actual needs are in a natural expression. That way we can all continue to decondition from society and our parents. If, your parents were very authoritarian, and the way that we impart change, like I said, is starting with ourselves. And then guess what? There's so much Aquarian energy. There's this desire to change, like, the internal vibration of ourselves, our energetics. That way we can help further the collective. This is that week. Some of us are going to feel this. We're going to feel the collective shift. We're going to feel things happening. We're going to see people coming out speaking about things that they are going to be needing the courage to do it. And they're really going to embody being a group of one. And maybe that's you. These are all themes that we're going to see this week. And I just want us to continue to watch things, observe our behavior, our reactions, our self-talk, how we talk to others, and really learn how to nurture these things and how to take responsibility for things. That way we don't feel powerless, because we're not. That is an illusion. Same with power. I mean, if we're really getting down to it, but here on this plane, there's definitely a need to share power, to empower. And how that starts and how that changes within the collective is when we change ourselves. So we vibrate at a different frequency. That way, people around us start doing the same thing, because all we're doing is mirroring it. This is that week. So all the things you've been working on, continue to do it. If a sickness comes up, if someone ends up committing suicide, the sickness thing, there is a teaching in that. There's also a teaching in suicide. But with the Neptune, Jupiter conjunction in Pisces, a lot of times I want to warn, this is when people, Jupiter can expand things and Neptune can be illusion or disillusionment. And Jupiter can be truth, but it can also be dishonesty, depending on the vibration and how connected we are in the conscious effort we're taking to really be able to witness these things in our lives. And so some people, the illusion of futility, because there's this square that's happening, okay, to Capricorn and Cancer, this illusion, let me take that back. It's the square happening with Saturn, Mars, with Cap and Cancer. Ooh, I'm wrong. Sorry. my mind is going crazy. It's to the nodes. But Pisces, there's this square, natural square, the Jupiter Neptune square. There's a natural square to Gemini and to Sag. And so this is really, really, really about learning that we're all equals and that there isn't, things do get better. There is a point to all of this. A lot of people with this Jupiter Neptune are going to feel like there's not a point. They're going to ask themselves, what's the point to all of this? And they're not going to want to live because they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And so this can be heavy energy. And so I just want us to really make sure that we take care of ourselves because it's the collective energy. So anyone who is very connected to collective energies, make sure that you're doing meditations, make sure that you are taking Epsom baths and just really nurturing yourself. I think it's a good idea for everyone to do that. Even if you don't feel it, doesn't mean that it's not affecting you. There's also a moon conjunct Lilith that is happening on the 4th, so today. And this is really about getting in touch with the anger. Really wrapped around the suppression of the feminine. So if something like that pops up during this week, it's really important to look at the feelings that come up. Feelings is a Taurus thing because they're going to point to the deeper emotions. And there is going to be a really great opportunity for all of us to really heal some deep, deep, deep stuff. That way we can live more in our natural selves. So I just want everyone to take care of themselves this week. I definitely want you to continue to pay attention and to observe yourself. And even if something does feel confusing, continue to observe. You don't have to act. Okay? There's something that is wanting to be revealed for each of us. So let's relinquish control and just allow that to happen. So I hope you guys have a great week and much love to you all.